Today is Monday, August 29th, 2022. It is also day 203 of Blender, and today I'm going to make a neon glow in the dark text animation with this font that I downloaded by Phenotype from defont.com. It's called Neon, and then this sound that I downloaded from Pixabay, and it's just like a flickering light sound, and that's literally all I need. So I'm just going to open up Blender and go to General. Okay. And then I'm going to go to the top and click on Geometry Nodes, and then hide the spreadsheet, click on New for a new Geometry Node system, disconnect the input from the output, and then I'll do Shift A and add a string to curves node. And that's just my text. I'm going to connect that to my output so I can see it in the viewport, which is this top screen over here. But I can't see anything because I have nothing set as my string. So I'll just do closed, and that's going to be my text. Now I'll do Shift A and get a transform node because I don't want closed to be flat. I want it to be standing. So I'll go to rotation and change the X to 90. And that's just telling Blender, hey, I want this text to be rotated 90 degrees along the X-axis, which in this case is the X-axis. Now I'll do Shift A and search for a fill curve node to add some faces and change the fill type to n-gons. And now we see that it's like filled in. Now to do some thickness, I'll do Shift A and get an extrude mesh node, and that's just going to thicken the letters. I'll do 0.1 so that it's not that much. And then I'll go here to the folder in the string to curves node and just select the font that I want. So I already have it downloaded, Neon Regular, open the font, and now it's looking like that. All right, and the last thing here would be to do Shift A and get a set material node, and then just selecting the material you see here and go to material properties and change the surface from principled BSDF to emission BSDF, and that's going to allow the letters to emit light, which is kind of, the glow in the dark part. And in order to actually see this happening, I'm going to go to render preview, and before doing anything, let me save this. So I'll do 82922 dot blend, save Blender file. All right, and then if I change the color, I'll be able to see the color, which is super cool. But if I change the strength, I'm not able to really see any glow in the dark, and that's because I actually have to go to render properties and just turn on bloom and ambient occlusion, and now I can see, that surrounding light. To see it better, I'll do Shift A, mesh plane, to add a backdrop. So I'll do S to scale it, G to grab, and then X to grab along the X-axis. And then I'll go into edit mode and make sure I'm in edge select the back edge, and then do E to extrude the edge, and then Z to extrude it along the Z-axis, which is the blue axis. Back in object mode, I'll go to the modifier and add a bevel, which is somewhere over here. And then that's just going to increase the amounts and segments as I do that, and just apply that, and it just makes a backdrop. I'll do right click shade smooth and then S and X to scale along the X axis. And I'll go to material properties and give it a material base color of black so that the clothes stands out a lot better. And now what I'll do for the animation part, I'll go to layout and go to render preview, and I'll just maybe bring it up a little bit like GZ, and just maybe move this GX a little bit to the right. And then I'll do Control Alt Numpad 0 to align my camera to the view so that whatever I get in my video is what's gonna be in this camera here. So I'll do Control Alt Numpad 0, aligns my camera to the current view that I have right now. It helps to go to front view by pressing the button under the escape key and hovering over front, and that kind of just gives it a little bit more towards the middle. So to get rid of that glaring background, I can just click on the light and X delete that, and now it's become so much better. All right, just move this a little bit towards the middle like this, and that's good. So now for the animation part, all right, and then I think for the animation, I'm just going to have it come from like bar and then get closer and then flicker. So the way that I'll do that is I'll just pull up the timeline, and this is where the keyframes come in. So I'm just going to move this, press G and then Y to move along the Y axis, go back to numpad 0, and it should look a little bit, farther away. And then I'll have that be the starting position. And so I want my video to, let's say, like be, I don't know, 100 frames, 80 frames, maybe 80 frames. So that's going to be 80 images that I'll have to collect. And I'll press on N to pull up my end panel. And what I'll do is I'll press on the Y position, which is 4.63 meters, and I'll hover over that, not press on it, sorry. I mean, hover over it. And as I hover over it, I'm going to press I as I'm in keyframe 1. And what that does is just inserts that specific location on the Y-axis in keyframe 1. And so it's always going to be like starting there. And then what I want to do is by the end of the video, I want it to be kind of where it was. So I'll go to keyframe 80 and I'll just bring this back to its original position, which was definitely way closer than that. And I'll do GY and just kind of move it here maybe in the center and maybe even more to kind of like be right there. And I think that's pretty cool. And then I'll hover over that Y position, I in keyframe 80. And now if I play it, it's gonna zoom in like that, which is really, really nice. And now for the flickering part, I guess I'll just go to the material properties and for strength, I'll leave it as 7.3 for 80. So I'll do that. So I'll hover over strength and press I, and that inserts that keyframe in keyframe 80. And then for keyframe 1, what I'll do, let me just go to keyframe 1 here, is just decrease the strength. So it's kind of like barely visible. So we'll start kind of like that, and I'll go to material properties. Where did it even go? Oh, it's because I'm not selecting the text anymore. And I'm going to hover over that and insert that keyframe. And now if I just go to layout, I'm already in layout, whoops, get rid of the end panel and just play that from the beginning, I'll be able to see it, do its thing, which is pretty cool. And now for the sound, what I'll do is I'll go to, let's say, to the top and then go to plus video editing, and then I'll add a sound and I'll go to downloads. Which one is it? Flickering light, add sound strip, and then if I play it, I'll be able to hear that. But here's the thing, the lights are not really flickering. I mostly just did like a lesser. I could have the lights flicker throughout. So maybe what I'll do is maybe like just random keyframes, like keyframe 17, I'll just do like strength 0 and just hover over that, insert that keyframe. Maybe keyframe 25, I'll go back to strength 0, hover over that, insert by pressing I, maybe keyframe 37, 0, hover over that, insert, and then just do that. So I can just copy and just paste in random keyframes that I'm in. I'll do that. Just paste that. So I just copied it. By the way, I clicked on it, pressed on Control C, and then now I'm just going to random keyframes by moving the blue arrow and just pasting that. Just sometimes I want things to be a little bit closer and not maybe that much spaced out. And now let's see, if I just play it from the beginning, let's see how that looks like. Interesting. Oh, I think that's happening. Oh, because it has to go back to its original position. So I'll have to take this one. Well, that wouldn't make sense. I would have to, in order to have this work, I would have to have, after every like 0, I would have to have like a certain value that might be increasing. And like, that's very tedious. So how about we just don't do that? All right, let me delete that. Delete keyframes and then delete keyframe and then just have it be what it was. And then what I'll do, oh, and now you can see it with the sound. It's pretty cool. Alright, I think I'm gonna leave it like that, honestly. And then just for the rendering part, I just go to output properties, and which is right here, and I'll select a folder for all of my frames to render as images, and I'll go to desktop, animations, create a folder, I'll call it 82922, render that, accept, and then just make sure my file format is PNG, and do Control S, and then just render animation, and those 80 frames should render as PNG images in that folder, and then later on I'll just collect all of those images, put them in a video editor, and just put them all together, and it's going to be ending up like a video, and that's it, literally. All right, I'll be back. All right, and now that all of the 80 frames are rendered as PNG images, I can actually look at that folder and see all of those 80 images there. As you can see, they're all here. And now I'm just going to go to video editing. If you don't see that, just go to plus, video editing, and then scroll all the way to the left and then just add image sequence and then just select, go to that folder first of all, and then select the first image and then scroll all the way down and then shift select the last image, add image strip, and Blender's just putting them all together, those images. And so if I just play it, I'll be able to see that happening here. I don't know if I want to use that flickering light sound. Let me see if I can find another one. Maybe like some more like tension type of thing instead of flickering lights because it's not flickering at all. So okay, so I think I'm gonna try something out. So I have this like 80s synth wave, and if I play it from kind of like here, I kind of see like that build up. So maybe that's what I want. So I downloaded it and I'm gonna try it out. I'm gonna just delete this for a second, and if it doesn't work, we'll go back to what it had. So I'll add sound, and which one was it? Add image strip, make sure it's all the way at the beginning, and then I'm gonna try to find that build up there. I'm not really sure. It's so long. I don't know how I'm gonna do that. So let me see. Does it tell me like the keyframes and the actual? Oh, it says 1 minute 6 seconds. All right, so I found it. All I had to do was just like scroll with my middle mouse button to make it smaller, and then oh, and never mind, I lost it. So hold up, let me see where it is again. All right, kind of about there. So what I'll do is I'll just right click and I'll do split. All right, split, and then just, oh, did it not split? Split right there. There we go. And just move this over here and just move this here, and let's see if that works. And move this over here and just play it from the beginning. Or I could do just the beginning, which I think sounded pretty cool. I think that sounds better. So I'll just delete this and have it there, and I'll end it at 80 over here. Or wherever this ends. It ends at 67, so I guess I'll end it at 67. Right about there. Or that's 82, never mind. Or just 80, right? Just making sure that this ends at 80 as well. So I think that covers it. And now, literally for the last thing is just selecting a folder for my video to input. So I'll just create one, call it video, and then accept, and that's where my video is going to render into. It's going to render as an FFmpeg video for file format. Under encoding, container should be MPEG-4, and then the output quality should be high quality. And because we have audio, we have to make sure it has a codec. So just do MP3 and then Control S and then go, and I should probably cut it after 80. Hold up. I'll probably have to do split, so I think that's K, and then just delete this part. All right, and that's what I'm going to render. All right, and then last step is to go render animation, and then it should be pretty fast. And if I go to the folder and just kind of search up where I told it to go to, which is animations, and then that folder, and then a folder within the folder, and then just open that up, I can see the final result.